Well, the word tosspot comes to mind. Let's begin. Well, isn't Sadig Khan just the gift that keeps on giving to London's drivers? I mean, what's he playing at? Is he trying to price people out of London or something? I mean, first, it was the Ulez daily charge of £12.50, and if, of course, you dare to venture into the city centre to help Rishi find his lost marbles, you'll get slapped with another £15 congestion charge. But, of course, he's not going to stop there, is he? He's preparing now to unleash an additional daily fee of up to 17 quid for us poor motorists. It's like playing a game of how much money can we squeeze out of you. I mean, I can just imagine someone planning a day trip to London, can't you? Honey, let's visit the big city, see the sights and bankrupt ourselves in the process. I mean, by the time you've paid all those fees, you could be forking out around £44.50 for the privilege of breathing in London's air pollution, which of course Sadig Khan thinks that finding people is the way to deal with that. I mean, it's so expensive you'd have to think twice before even taking a deep breath. But here's the thing, they're talking about these fees lasting until 2025 and beyond, while they're also banning new petrol and diesel cars from 2035 instead of 2030 now. It's kind of like telling someone, well, we'll let you have a few more years so you can buy a cheap car, but of course we'll make sure that you pay through the nose to drive the one you got. But of course, you know, they're saying that London's tunnels need maintenance, and we of course all have to chip in. So why not compare it to Dartford Crossing's £2.50 toll? It's practically a steal compared to £12.50 or the now new £17.50, isn't it? I mean, they could say instead of charging you an arm and a leg, we'll settle for a couple of fingers. Because of course, you know, in the end, who needs savings, right? I mean, we're only in the middle of a cost of living crisis as it is. Maybe, who knows, we should all start investing in pogo sticks and catapults to navigate London. At least that way it's not going to cost you a bomb to get there, is it? I myself think that not only should he pause this new silly fee, but he should also pause Ulez, in my opinion, since the ban on new petrol and diesel cars has been pushed back to 2035 and maybe possibly longer. But anyway, the article says that the mooted new fees would come on top of the £15 daily congestion charge to drive in central London, first introduced for London's former Labour Mayor Ken Livingstone at £5 in February 2003, and Mr Khan last month extended across all of London's 32 boroughs the much criticised ultra-low emission zone, and of course that means that £12.50 daily charges for anyone driving vehicles deemed to be environmentally unfriendly or something like that. And opponents say it will harshly penalise poorer families unable to afford more modern cars with stricter emission standards. And of course, tradesmen seeking vans to carry supplies also face higher costs than they would potentially be otherwise, which is more than likely going to be passed on to customers' bills. Well, it looks like the electric vehicle or EV market is in for a shocker, and it's not of the good kind for them anyway. It's as if Mother Nature has decided herself to throw a spanner in the green agenda for EV enthusiasts. Now let's talk numbers, shall we? EV prices have nosedived by nearly a quarter. That's right, 25%. It's finding out that your stock portfolio has turned into monopoly money overnight. And according to Auto Trader, the average price for a used EV has dropped by a jaw-dropping 21.4% this month. It's a phenomenal amount, they say, as these cars sit for months on end without any takers. Well, you know, perhaps they should start adding free hugs from Amanda Holden or something like that to incentivise potential buyers. I mean, that would certainly make me buy one. But here's the other thing. High-end models from Tesla, BMW, Mercedes-Benz and any other higher models are taking the hardest hit, with average costs falling by up to 21.4% each year. Tesla in particular seems to be on a price cutting spree, with the UK prices slashed multiple times this year. It's like a fire sale, isn't it, at a luxury car dealership, and everyone's invited. So of course you can now roll up to your next party in a Tesla for the unbelievable price of £32,463, which is still sky high for many people, but it's actually apparently quite cheap for a Tesla. I mean, who needs a yacht when you can have a Tesla, right? But Armash Samanai, chairman of the Independent Motor Dealers Association, thinks that Rishi Sunak's delay on the petrol and diesel car ban is to blame somehow. It's as if the government has decided to hit the brakes on the EV parade, leaving dealerships stuck with EVs they can't sell, even as their value drops by £2,000 to £3,000 a month. I mean, that's right, these cars are losing value faster than, I don't know, a melting ice cream cone on a summer's day. And of course, while we're at it, let's not forget about the range and charging issue, shall we? It's like the real-life drama of range anxiety. EVs need better range, and more importantly, they need a better charger network that doesn't make you feel like you're financially launching a rocket to the moon every time you plug in. It's like going to a restaurant where they charge you an arm and a leg just for the privilege of looking at the menu. And of course, with the ban on new petrol diesel cars extended to 2025, then EV's value may fall further. I mean, range does really need to be improved, doesn't it? And more importantly, not only the amount of chargers, but also the public charge and speed capability as well, because I don't know about you, but filling up a car with petrol, which only takes about 5 minutes, certainly seems more appealing than waiting half an hour to 40 minutes to do a quick charge. But anyway, the article says that a report from the trade body highlighting the stalled electric car private buyer market said that a faster and fairer mass transition to zero-emission vehicles is threatened by the absence of support for private buyers, many of whom, of course, plan to go electric are delaying due to concerns over affordability and uncertainty regarding the availability of a charging network. Well, if you're enjoying the video so far, then why not click the subscribe button down there? Apparently, it only lets awesome people subscribe, so why not click it to see if that's you? And also, I am so close to 20,000 subscribers, and my girlfriend has set me a challenge to try and get that 20,000 by the end of the month, which is, of course, only a few days away, so you'll be a legend if you can really help me out with that. Well, isn't this just a smoking hot topic? I mean, Rishi Sunak is apparently toying with the idea of making cigarettes about as rare as a unicorn for the next generation. As a unicorn for the next generation. I mean, I'm not one to pass judgment, but it seems like the government is taking away everyone's favourite wheezing pastime, which, to be honest, they surely have no right to do this. I mean, any party that suggests such a thing is bound not to be back in power for a long time. I mean, this sort of move seems more home on the Labour manifesto than a Conservative one. But honestly, these days, it's actually kind of hard to tell the two apart, isn't it? I mean, one party is all about rejoining the EU with a woke and green agenda, while the other one feels like it would pee on you and tell you it's raining. But imagine the chaos this could cause in, I don't know, about 30 years' time. You may have a 48-year-old happily puffing away on cigarettes like a human chimney, while the poor 47-year-old would be denied his smoky pleasure. And, don't even get me started on carrying ID everywhere, which I'm guessing you'd probably need to prove to the cashier you're actually 48 and not 47. Even though, of course, because of smoking, you're bound to look like 55. But at the end of the day, we're not in either North Korea or China. And we should, of course, all be free to enjoy any bad decisions that we make, without, of course, the government breathing down our necks. But here's the thought. Maybe the government should focus on helping people quit rather than banning everything under the sun. I mean, come on, we're talking about adults here, not rebellious teenagers. It's like trying to teach a cat to tap dance. It's entertaining, but it's not going to end well, is it? And the reason why I'm saying all this is because Dr. Sadig Khan, I wonder if that's a relation to some other bellend who likes messing up the country. But anyway, that name is probably not on your radar, but apparently he has a grand plan. He's suggesting that raising the age of sale of cigarettes from 18 by 1 year every year isn't, of course, no one born after a certain date can buy a tobacco product in this country. And if this plan goes full steam ahead, by 2026, we might need a time machine to find someone, I don't know, under 30-ish who can legally buy a cigarette. I mean, talk about extreme measures, eh? Apparently, of course, this is bound to make their mission of making England smoke-free by 2030. And it seems like they're pulling out all the stops, doesn't it, to do that? They're even providing free vaping kits, launching voucher schemes for pregnant women, and thinking about shoving mandatory cigarette pack inserts into our faces. It's like they're trying to scare us into submission, isn't it? Not forgetting, of course, the amount of adverts you see on TV. Even though, admittedly, I don't actually smoke myself, but I respect people's right to do so. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, we've got the freedom to make these choices, so they shouldn't try and cut back. I mean, it's like the government are busy playing nanny. But until then, of course, I'll be sipping my tea and wondering whether they'll decide to ban cake next or something like that, because it's bad for your waistline, But anyway, the article says that smokers' rights group Freedom Organisation for the Right to Enjoy Smoking Tobacco, Forest, said the move was anti-conservative and would not stop people from smoking. Director Simon Clark said a ban will simply drive the sale of cigarettes underground and into the hands of criminal gangs. He added, treating adults like children by denying them the right to buy cigarettes legally would take their nanny state to another level. Smoking rates have been falling for decades, and the idea that the government would prioritise tackling smoking at a time when the country faces far more important challenges at home and abroad is frankly obscene. And if it is true that the Prime Minister wants to indeed introduce some sort of world's toughest anti-smoking measures, denying millions of adults the freedom of choice, it'll be a Conservative government in name only. But going back to drivers, I'm personally quite glad that the deadline has been moved back to 2035, but unfortunately, the thing in this video could make it much more worse for nearly all of us drivers.